Happiness is a genetic lottery. Some people are born with a sunny disposition and others are just not.
Psychology is saying that it's 50% genetics and 50% your personality.
So basically, this theory is saying, right, that everyone's got this genetic set point that we feel happiness to.
Is this what we're teaching people? Are people believing in this? And are they using this as an excuse for them not feeling happy?
You're meaning to tell us
Yes.
that we have a system hardwired inside of us that is genetically wired to make us feel happiness.
Yeah. The way that we're using it now, we're never going to feel the highest level of calm, a peace of mind, fulfillment, or the highest level of excitement and happiness.
If everyone had the right skills and tools, everyone would be able to achieve that happiness. If happiness was genetic, does that mean that some people are doomed to never feel it? Or is happiness something we can all actually achieve? Today, we're tackling one of the biggest myths in psychology and self-help, the idea that only some people are naturally happy. By the end, you'll know not just whether happiness is possible for you, but you'll have some skills that you can take away to ensure that you're the happiest that you can be. Hello, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Phil.
And Phil, we are many things. We are father-in-law, daughter-in-law, we are communication experts, we are friends, we are master, student.
And vice versa
And
recently,
vice
I think.
Thank you. I'll take that.
I mean, you're becoming the jack of all trades and outdoing me with everything that we are doing, which is awesome. So I'm learning a lot from you. Like, for example, setting up this studio.
Very true. I've had the best master. Thank you very much. Yeah, and as we said, we're communication experts. We help people to be the better version of themselves. In fact, we are helping each other to be the better version of ourselves. And I think we focus the most time of our days on being the better version of ourselves.
Yeah.
So this really is about us in the first instance, continually being better.
Yeah, it's about learning how we can better think, act, behave, choose what to go after or not go after, and really analyse the results that we're getting out of it to find what weaknesses that we have so we can learn, improve and be better continually. And we're very lucky because we get to do that a lot more than others do because of the time we spend on it in trying to make it simple to help others faster and to be better faster than us.
Yeah, I agree. You know, we just talked about something a few days ago and it stuck with me just about us being better. And you just said we have so much more time, luckily, because we've got the privilege that we made this, you know, our chosen passion, our work. But we spoke a couple of days ago about how when I first started, that I had drive and I wanted to, you know, do this. But I think there was that ulterior motive of I wanted to be significant. And don't get me wrong, there were the questions of I want to understand other people. I want to understand myself.
Yeah.
I want to be better. But I think there was a big part of that drive of me doing this and becoming a part of You Push was because I could see the potential of how this could change the world. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wasn't going to miss out.
Yeah.
And I think over the years, and I'm going to say particularly in the last like 2 years maybe, it really has become about me.
Yeah.
It's like I don't care about the results that we get as much anymore. It's really, I feel so privileged that I can sit here and that I get to spend so much time in ensuring that I learn the right skills, that I am better today than I was yesterday. And that's something that, thinking about it, I'm really proud of me. Proud of me? What's that?
Both is fine.
Both is fine. I'm really proud of that and I'm really happy with that and it makes me feel very fulfilled and at peace of mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You said you don't really care. I just didn't know what that was tied to.
Oh, I don't really care about the results we get. Sorry, that's what I said. What I mean is, in the beginning, I think it was about the exterior world, the results we get, the money we get in the end, you know, by putting this knowledge out, by courses that we can sell, the significance that I get from other people, how they think of me because I did something great. The size of the company we're able to build eventually. I think that was at the forefront of my mind for a long period of time, and was a big driver for me.
Yeah.
Whereas I do not care, and I'm doing these little, you know, quote signs.
Yep.
I do not care as much about that anymore. It's about me for me.
And you care more about the people who care about themselves, and thus them sharing with you how to make it better, how you can actually be better with some knowledge that you can instill in your life, rather than people telling you, oh, that's not very good, and then when you say, can you please tell me how I could be better? They go, oh, I don't know. Yeah, so it's caring about who to care about more. I like what you said, and the one thing I'd love to share with people, you really want better in life. What I really want people to do is, whether they start it to be better with others or themselves, it doesn't matter where that starting point is, eventually to be the better version of yourself that you are naturally born to find, will come more from, in the end, you doing this for yourself rather than for others. But where you start is not an issue. Where you finish is so important, because when you, as you said, make it more about yourself rather than the external, that's when you really get the greatest results.
Yeah, and I want to add on, don't get me wrong, I really care about people, but I also learned that I can only help people and give the best care and help to people if I make sure that I make myself the better person every day. So with that, I think we've kind of already touched on it now. We jumped a little bit into a catch-up. Let's do a little catch-up, anything that we want to re-talk about from the last week, take listeners or viewers into our past week, and I think always let them know us a little bit more before we dive into the topic that we've already touched on and teased, which is happiness.
Yeah, so reflection. I just want you to know where my head is at the moment. There's a little bit of sadness in me. And the sadness comes from a gentleman in America getting shot today.
Yeah.
And
Charlie Kirk.
And that makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Like, and we're talking about happiness. And, you know, whether it's genetic or not, or whether the foundation is genetic or not. And I feel this sadness. So if I don't come across as curious, excited and happy as I should be, I'm not, because I feel for all those connected. I feel for everyone affected by this, and it makes me very sad.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to start with that. Then the reflection on the last couple of weeks. Do you remember when we did the last podcast and we went and had coffee? And we sat outside and we sat with our coffee, and I'm staring at 3 ladies, and one of them is a parent of 3 kids, a 3.5-year-old, maybe a 5 to 6-year-old, and an 8 or 9-year-old. And the way that she was speaking to these kids when they were eating just made me feel sad. The way it ended was just absolutely awful for me, devastating, because the little boy, after 20, 30 minutes into us having our coffee, and we're talking and recapping stuff, and I'm watching this and I'm trying not to let it affect me. The little boy says to the mum, "Can I please have a cuddle?" And she says, "No, you cannot have a cuddle," and berated him. "How dare you ask that when I'm talking? How dare you interrupt us? That is just rude." And so here she's trying to teach this child manners or morals or values, whilst not following them herself to her child, who obviously was feeling pain. was wanting comfort, was lost in what he may have done wrong that she was not going to let him get away with, and that was the way to teach him. And so that's heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. It made me, the first thing I did when I got home is I went into my son, and my son, Sonny, who's 3.5, I went in and I looked him in the face and I said, "Can I just have a word with you?" And he said, "Yes, Daddy." And then tries to give me cuddles. And I said, "If you ever ask me for a cuddle, I will always give you one. I will never say no. Because I learned today that that would just be the most awful thing I could do as a dad. Most awful thing I could do as a friend. Most awful thing I could do as somebody who is trying to develop you to be the better version of yourself continually." So I just wanted to share that because I wanted to get that out based on the conversation that we're going to have today. And just say that if there is a bit of curious excitement and happiness that is not coming across here today, that is at the forefront of my mind, and I apologise.
It's, I mean, we're going to talk today about nature versus nurture quite a bit. And I think that example that you've just raised, you said it was a little boy that happened to when we were out for coffee and he asked for a cuddle. And when you told me that happened, I hadn't paid attention to it at all. The first thing that came to my mind is if it was a girl who would have asked that, I think there would have been a way higher likelihood that she actually would have gotten that cuddle. That's just how it is. Nature versus nurture. We nurture a lot of girls very differently than we nurture boys. Yeah. And the very sad thing that came up for me is I saw that boy as a, 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, and we then wonder why boys and men don't feel comfortable to ask for attention and to ask for love and to ask for a cuddle. Why, we have that question of why can't they just do that? We girls do that and we don't feel bad about ourselves, but it's exactly things like that where we think we're teaching them a valuable lesson of show manners and don't just interrupt me, but they're just asking, they're communicating for something that they need help with. And they're not getting it. So it starts teaching them that they have to be these very strong figures.
It certainly taught me a very valuable lesson. It's very easy that when somebody does something wrong to almost not want to have anything to do with them, rather than let them make the mistake. We think that ignorance is discipline and that'll teach them. That really showed me that I've made mistakes over my time raising kids to say, I'm never doing that again. I'm not doing that at all costs. It does not require ignorance, or it does not require ignoring somebody for the sake of trying to teach them. Never again. I'm so sorry that I've done that for whoever I've done that to in the past, because it's just terrible.
I do want to say just a sentence about what you've raised, Charlie Kirk being shot when we woke up here in Australia this morning. It does not matter whether we believe in his politics or his beliefs or his thoughts. What happened is absolutely horrific. And even though I do not agree with a lot of things that he said, I think it is very, very sad that people believe they can make a change by being violent, and it does not say anything about Charlie Kirk's beliefs. For me, it says everything about the person who thought violence is the answer to that. So I just wanted to say
never
that
the answer. Killing somebody is never the answer. It goes against everything human nature gave us gave us to be able to be amazing people.
So for me, that raises the question, or it raises the thought, that person who did such a violent act today in front of so many people, he must have been very sad, very angry, very frustrated, not very happy.
No.
Now, is that happiness that he didn't experience a genetic dysfunction, Or is that something that he's learned? That is what we're going to talk about today.
I'd even go into the fact of the lady was the way that she was speaking to her 2.5-year-old boy is the way she's doing that genetic, not doing it happily.
Mm-hmm. So the common belief or a common myth in this world is happiness is a genetic lottery. Some people are born with a sunny disposition and others are just not. Now, Phil, you called me the other day and you said, Lise, I know we've got a structure for our podcast, but can I please change it? Can I talk about happiness? And I'm like, sure, I'm happy for you to talk about happiness. What do you want to talk about? And you said, I'll tell you tomorrow. I'll tell you tomorrow morning. So, okay. So we sit at coffee and you pull out your laptop and you had a chat to me and you showed me a little bit of research that you've done into what the world believes about happiness. And when we say the world, we're talking about psychologists, researchers, the self-help industry.
Yep.
Enlighten us. What does the world believe based on the statement that I've already just read? Happiness is a genetic lottery.
I think that basically the psychology and being regurgitated through AI is saying that it's 50% genetics and 50% your personality, your character, and the habits you follow. That's what they say it is. It's broken up into 3 categories: your habits, your personality, what you learn, and your baseline genetics, what's born in your DNA or what's created in your DNA. That will determine your disposition on happiness from the get-go.
So it is called the happiness set point theory that you actually looked at, which is
from 2005, I believe.
I'm not quite sure. I didn't look into that.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so, if I've got that right.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say. I
Yeah,
apologise.
no, that's all good. So it's called the happiness set point theory. And exactly as you said, it's basically that everyone's got this genetic set point that we feel happiness to. So if let's say there is 1 to 100, you might have a set point at 55, but me genetically, poor little Lisa just has a genetic set point at 10, for example. So no matter what happens, your set point where you'll go to is a lot higher and you'll be walking through life a lot happier than I ever will. So what I've written down in the notes that we've got to prepare this today is that, as you said, 50% of happiness apparently comes from your genetics. So that's the set point. Yep. Pardon?
Up to 50%.
Up to 50%, yep. You're right. So some people are just naturally more optimistic, naturally more calm, or more resilient. So they actually throw a lot of words into this, right? It's called the happiness set point theory, but they're throwing the calm, the optimistic, the resilient because of their biology. So the example that we've got here is 2 people win the same prize and one feels joy for a week. For example, that's you because you got the 55 set point in happiness.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're the lucky one in the genetic lottery. And the other one, which is me, just has like a day of happiness and then I return to my usual mood, which is just 10. Quite sad. And we've got the life circumstances, which are up to 10%. So only 10% are based on having money, health, a great job, where we live, so our surroundings. And then up to 40%, they say, is based on habits, mindset, intentional activities.
Oh, so I got that round the wrong way. Sorry, thank you.
No, that's okay.
Yep, cool.
And what you do every day. So your gratitude, your kindness, your strong relationships, your purpose, or reframing negative events.
I find that you know where my thoughts are with this. Look, I'm not going to say that that measurement is not right based on the studies that they've done, the research that they've done. But I question what.
It's funny you're saying, I'm not going to say it's wrong.
No, and I'm not going to say it's wrong because I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like people say to me when I speak to them, do you believe in God?
Yeah.
And I go, no. Oh, do you disbelieve? No. I just don't have proof.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to say that that is wrong. I don't have the proof. And they have the proof based on the studies that they've done.
Mm.
But when I go through the studies they've done, it almost contradicts each other, the studies that they've done and what they're saying. And I really find it hard as to how they can find a baseline if they don't understand some of the things that we've uncovered over the last 20 years.
Absolutely. Yes. How are you going to check? So basically, this theory is saying, right, you and I can have the exact same job that we both love. We can have the same amount of money in our bank account. We can live in the exact same area. We have the same beautiful house. And you and I both manage our thoughts the exact same way. We manage our emotions the exact same way. We're basically the exact same person. But you could be more happy than I could be more happy, even though we live the identical lives and have identical ways of managing our thoughts. But how would psychology or the people who've researched this actually know what the difference in your managing your thoughts is compared to me managing my thoughts? That's the big question that I have.
And I think that's key.
Absolutely, for me as well. I mean, we're all about communication, which starts with thoughts. So that, of course, is the big macro piece here for us.
Yeah.
So the question is this true? Because we all know someone who always sees, you know, the sun even on a rainy day and goes, this is a beautiful day. But we also all know the person that has or sees the cloud in the silver lining. So I think let's flip this whole thing.
Okay.
And have a look what we think. Is this happiness set point theory actually true in our thoughts?
Let's do it.
All right, Phil. Is happiness available for everyone, no matter their genes?
So let's just quickly discuss the psychology and the set point. Do I believe there's a set point? Yes, I do.
Where do you think that percentage is?
I don't think it's anywhere near 50%. I think from a biological perspective, it may be a difference between 5 and 10%. Maybe 10 and 15. And I'd be very surprised if it was 15 to 20.
That's quite a lot still. I wouldn't have expected you to say that.
I have to find a measurement. I can't say 1%.
Yeah. Why can't you say 1%?
Because I don't know for fact. Am I happy to look at it? Yes. Am I happy to look at it from a 5 to 10% perspective? If you notice, I said 5. 1 to 5, I'm just not giving it myself enough benefit of the doubt of where I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So at worst, I'd be very surprised if it was 15 to 20, but I do believe that 5 to 10 is a great starting point. So that's the first. The second is, if you go back to our previous podcast where we talked about our natural ultimate purpose of life in some detail, and as we've discussed in many of our videos about this natural communication system that we're all hardwired with, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we move on. You look at that system is really no different in any human being.
So let's touch on that now, because there might be people who haven't listened to the other episode. So what do you mean there is a system and that's no different in people, and what has that got to do with happiness? Like, pick me up. I haven't heard of us before.
Sure. Every single one of us, the long version, is built with a natural communication, fulfillment and learning system. That natural communication, fulfillment and learning system, we're going to call the NCS, the natural communication system, is made up of 5 components. These 5 components determine how we learn from birth to death. These 5 components start with, we feel a weakness.
So
or a weakness.
mistakes, anything that goes wrong, is that
Correct.
right?
Physical, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Mental, I want to know something but I'm not allowed, or I think I know something but I'm wrong.
Okay.
So weaknesses. So weaknesses are alarmed to us through sadness, frustration and crying from birth to death.
Mm-hmm. So that's component number 2, sadness, frustration, crying.
Correct.
Right.
It is sadness, frustration and crying, our first natural language as a baby, with which our physical being uses to communicate to someone to help us with a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are a parent or a carer in any regard or looked after things from a very young age, right, there is sadness, frustration and crying, and you go, oh, what can I do to fix something or help you with something or share or care with something? So everyone knows this when you look at a baby or a toddler. So then the third component is somebody fulfills it. And somebody fulfills it until you start to learn how to fulfill that yourself based on what is fulfilled.
So you're saying that as a baby, my mum might be the fulfiller, but me being almost 30, I'm my own fulfiller, for example, in many cases.
Correct. And when you were 3, you wanted to fulfill more yourself. And when you were 5 or 7, you were turning around and giving them a measurement of how to be fulfilled better with them.
Right.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you learn to be the fulfiller until you're classified as independent, and then you take over the majority of the roles.
But then you just get a husband who fulfills everything for you because he cooks, for example.
Yes, that's exactly right. And men in their place, it's very nice to be able to do that. It's very nice to be able to look after your family. And especially, I think one of the most amazing things is cooking. I love it. That's not to say I don't mind if my partner likes to cook, Lisa. So I'm sure Jess wouldn't mind you buying in takeaway.
I was about to say, that's the only thing he lets me do. I'm not allowed in the kitchen.
So that's the third component. Now, when you get fulfilled, right, a natural phenomenon happens based on this system that's hardwired in us. Mm-hmm. We learn. We learn a thought. We learn parts of thoughts. And over time, we continually build on those parts of thoughts automatically through this system. See, you weren't born and then you went, well, I'm going to go and learn that intentionally and study science or medicine. What happened is the system hardwired into your brain and physical being taught itself what I would class as the real you. Now, that's a different part. It taught you how to manage yourself in your life, to become that fulfiller, that independence. And from that state, when you learn something and something's fulfilled, you became calm, relaxed, at peace, mentally, and even physically. Right?
Which is a phenomenon that you can look at in every baby. Look at babies. My favorite thing is babies getting milk drunk, right? They cry and they're off their heads and they're frustrated, saying, I need something. And then you see them latching on to that breast and they slowly become calm. And then afterwards, they're just this little drunk thing. And it is the most beautiful thing. So, you can definitely prove that to yourself, that is what happens when the right weakness gets fulfilled, was listened to, they become calm and get to that peaceful state.
And when in that state, the next natural phenomenon happens.
What's that?
Influenced by a parent or a carer or a fulfiller who, when that baby gets to that milk drunk and then becomes a little bit more aware as it gets a little older, the parent encourages smiling, encourages a little bit of activity over and above what it has done the day before or the morning before. And then the baby taps into this amazing curiosity, wide-eyed, looking, almost smiling, if not smiling, right? And kind of gets an excitement as it starts to learn more thoughts. So it becomes curious, excited, and happy.
So, Phil.
Yes.
You're meaning to tell us
Yes.
that we have a system hardwired inside of us that is genetically wired to make us feel happiness.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that changes the happiness set point theory slightly, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly sheds a new light on it. And that's why I went to that 5, 10%, maybe 15, 20, because I've not known anybody, and no one has ever been able to tell me that they know of any baby or toddler that has not experienced that. Even with you going through this research with me, you can remember back to you as a young girl, having had that, driving that, pushing that, even through your older childhood. You remember that. I remember that. People remember that. They know this. So that natural, curious excitement and happiness to learn more. And why wouldn't you want to from a genetic or a natural perspective? Because you did it as a baby. You did it as you started to crawl, walk, feed yourself, started to get a little bit of independence, get a little bit of time to yourself, create imaginary friends. Where did that come from? Like, I don't know how you could become that if you were not hardwired for it. And I don't know how many people could possibly be not hardwired for it.
I mean, well, if you think about it, if I put myself in the shoes of hearing this for the first time, I can prove to myself that my physical being can sense weaknesses. So component number 1, weaknesses, easy. I can sense that. I know that. I feel hungry, for example, or I have questions. I get confused, which is a mental weakness.
And you pull this face. Yeah. Just so you know, if you're listening to this, like a cat's bum. Like
a cat's bum, rightio. Thank you for that. Love that. Maybe that's the new thing that I'll write on my mirror. You know, other girls have maybe you look beautiful today. Maybe I'll write you look like a cat's bum today.
It's just the confusion part, not the excitement and happiness.
Okay, so it should be look less like a cat's bum today. So weaknesses, I can prove to myself that I can sense weaknesses. Component number 1, tick. Component number 2, sadness, frustration, crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get sad. Yeah, I get frustrated. Yeah, I cry. Now I've got to think, when do I feel that? When do I get sad? When do I get frustrated? When do I cry? Well, it's usually when there is something that doesn't make sense to me. It's when there is something that I perceive as a weakness, whether it's someone else has done something that I think is wrong, or whether I've done something that is wrong and I feel bad about it. Yep. So, yeah, tick. Absolutely, I would agree with that.
From a physical perspective, feeling hungry, and people call it hangry.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, that's easier than calling it frustrated.
Yeah, half frustrated. Yeah, so we can prove that.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Fulfiller. Well, yeah, if we take the easy example of the physical being gets hungry, I can sense that.
Yep.
I get a bit frustrated because I haven't looked after that need, then obviously I need to fulfill that.
Yep.
Okay.
Or your partner.
Oh my
He gets into the kitchen.
That's right.
As soon as he
I
realises.
say you, kitchen.
That's it. I like the click.
Yeah. He says you,
Click
dishes.
of the fingers. Bring it on.
Literally in the vows, wasn't it? He said, I'll cook for you for the rest of my life as long as you vow to do the dishes for the rest of your life. So then we get to the 4th component. Now the learning, I don't know as much as an adult. Let's think about it. I go to accounting school. So I might have been confused about something I didn't understand. I might have gotten a little bit sad or frustrated about it.
Yep.
Then I got my teacher to be the fulfiller for me and to teach it. And then, I learned a thought. That makes sense. So I fulfilled the weakness. I learned a thought. And after that, certainly I didn't feel frustrated anymore. I felt calm, a sense of peace.
Yep.
So now curious, excited, and happy, that's the one that we struggle with as adults, isn't it? To understand that that is natural. But do I, when something got fulfilled, feel curious, excited, and happy? from a natural perspective, I definitely do.
Let's look at when you exercise.
Yeah.
And how do you feel
good
after?
Example.
How do you feel every time you exercise?
That's a great example.
You feel pumped.
fantastic.
You feel great. You're not calm.
No, you're excited.
You're not at peace of mind. That is the foundation for it. But you're excited. Your body glows. You feel amazing. You feel like unstoppable. You feel like you could just run another 100 miles. When you've stopped, you go, why did I finish? Because you want to, you're curious, you're excited and happy because of what you've done. And because it's past, so you can look in the past, how you feel now and what you can do again later.
Absolutely. So that hopefully helps everyone to really see, because I know that is we're coming here, you know, and we're coming on and people turn this podcast on and they go, system, kind of makes sense, but I see it in a baby, but really me as an adult, yes, they have this amazing system that actually genetically proves that you can feel happiness. Not that you can feel happiness, that you're genetically created to feel happiness.
I look at this system and I look at how we are really trying to master it, you know, continually mastering this system to be the better version of ourselves, right? And I'm standing the other day and I'm working on the baby seat that I have that had a rip in
for the car,
its
you mean?
leg strap to connect the arm straps into. And I'm pulling everything apart and I'm doing it with curiosity and a smile. And the builder's here at the same time and he says, you know what, I can fix anything in a house, but having the patience to do that, I could not do it. And so he's looking at me, smiling. And I said, yes, you can. You know that. It's all in the way you look at it. See, I know I'm going to be able to fix this, or I'm not going to be able to fix it. But I'm very curious, excited, and happy to have that experience, to enjoy that experience whilst I'm doing it. And knowing that in the end, when I've done that, I'm going to give myself a high five and say, well done, you did it. Or you found out how to do it because you weren't really able to. And so I finished it, gave myself a high five and said, thank you, mate, for the heads up. Appreciate that. And then I just explained how I look at everything from a curious, excited and happy perspective based on what I understand of this system now that I can bring into my own life, that I can look at with every approach that I take to every weakness.
All right, you touched on something really cool there, and I kind of now want to mentally, for all of us, put the two sides against each other. So we've said that there were three parts, that the happiness set point theory, the researchers, psychologists that say that whether you're happy or not really is whether you've won the genetic lottery. Let's put that to the test. So we basically said, and I would agree with you, let's say anywhere between 5 and 15%. There might be a difference of the happiness that we can feel, who knows?
Yeah.
But really, genetically, we're all hardwired to feel better.
Yep.
Or to feel happiness, sorry.
Yep.
The second point that the happiness set point theory states is that 10% of happiness comes from external factors. I'm okay with that.
Give me a recap of what they said external factors are.
The job, money that you've got in your bank account, the house that you have.
Yep.
So I think it's, give me 1 second.
Yeah, very small
Life
percentage.
circumstances, money, health, environment. So really it is everything that you're, the things that you experience from the external world, I would say.
Yeah. Yep, I'm happy to stay with that for the moment. I do know that my job and money, or money in particular, if you were to say what percentage of people are very upset because they don't feel like they ever have enough money, it's a lot. If you look at the biggest problems that people have in life that they want to be able to fix, it's money and relationships. But that it's 10%, I'm not going to argue that.
Yeah.
And what they've come up with in this regard is very hard to really measure if you don't understand this system that's built into you that really actually determines what people have been saying for a long time is a baseline.
I agree.
But I'm happy to stay with that.
Leah,
I'm happy to stay with
yeah, let's stay just with the 10% for now. So we basically reduced the genetic factor to, let's go the average 10%, right? We said between 5, 15, let's go 10%.
Yep.
That might be a little bit of a difference.
Yep.
The life circumstances, second category, we agree 10% we're happy with. That means we've got 80% left now.
Yep.
Their theory only had 40% left now. We're saying there is 80% of something left that determines your happiness.
Yep.
So they're saying 40% is habits, mindset, intentional activities. In simple terms, it says shaped by what you do every day, what you think and do every day. So we've just changed that from 40% to 80%. You're happy with that?
Yep.
100%. Me too.
Yep. And if you know what's interesting?
What's that?
What it says to me, right, is that something's missing.
What's that?
The nurtured. It says your habits. It says, sorry, if you could just repeat those things. Habits.
Habits, mindset.
Mindset.
Intentional activities.
Intentional activities. All right. It doesn't raise nurture. It's saying that probably those things come from your nurturing.
It doesn't differentiate it. It just kind of includes that. Or it didn't look at, did your habits come from what your... Again, if they believe that 50% of your happiness comes from your genetic disposition, do we then also believe that my habits and my mindset and my intentional activities, do they also come from a genetic disposition? Is that what they're telling us?
I did a little bit more research
Yeah.
last night and this morning.
Yeah.
I've left that research for you down the bottom with the questions that I've asked. Just if you wanted to have a look at that.
Yeah.
If you said to me, Phil, what is it that creates the greatest happiness or the least amount of happiness? It's the way that we are nurtured that works either with this system or against this system that is the greatest determinant or determinator or determine whatever that word would be, right?
Determinant, I
Yes,
think.
for our future habits, for our future, what they call mindsets, for what we go after. So, based on what I said previously, how this system is nurtured or misused, even abused, will determine how we think, how we act, what we say and do, our behaviour with what we're saying and doing, or our actions, what we go after, don't go after, our habits that we form, our beliefs that we form. That is what I and you have discovered is the greatest determinant of what our happiness is really going to be. One, from a state of being, and two, from an approach perspective towards experiencing more of life.
Yeah, I like it. Does that answer the question of why do some people then feel more happiness than others? Why are there just some people that always see the cloud even on a sunny day, and why are there others that see the sun on a cloudy and rainy day? Does that answer the question?
Certainly for me goes a long way.
Yeah.
If your parents or carers are negative, you are going to get negative thoughts. You're going to have those as a baseline. Not from a genetic perspective, because psychologists and people who play in that area would say, oh, that's because it's a trait that's born in. No, it's not. It is a trait that's born in, don't get me wrong, there's many traits born in, but it is how that trait is almost educated to be. So negative, we're going to be negative. Positive parents are going to have an influence on that system from a positive perspective. And then I look at it from the better perspective, those that continually go after weaknesses, whether that be in one area or many areas of life, are then going to do the same and copy that. And that will be a learned disposition.
So I 100% agree. You've said a couple of times, how could we know what the set point or the baseline for happiness is genetically? Enlighten us on what you mean by that, now that we understand the system and now that you've touched on the nurturing part of the system. Why can't we know just yet what the baseline is?
Here's what my belief is. If you look at where did the baseline theory come from, it was a study based on twins. Is that right? Study on people living in the same areas. Being affected by the same things from those same areas, but not on a system built in. So basically what they're doing is saying there's got to be a baseline or a system built in, but no one knows what the system is. No one's tested the system. So how do you know how much is the baseline if you don't have a system to determine that off from a natural perspective? And this is what we've said psychology and those that have explored human nature for so long have missed.
So in simple terms, we've all got this amazing, cleverest, intelligent, self-working system inside of us, but we didn't get the manual. No. We didn't know it exists, first of all, and then we didn't get the manual on how it works and what we are meant to do with that. So if we're all not using the system correctly, because how can you if you don't even know something exists, then how do we know how happy we would actually be in comparison to if we were to use that correctly?
Yeah.
Is that right?
100%. So if you don't know what something is, how do you then know how to use it? And if you don't know how to use it and what it is, you're only going to misuse it. And then if you misuse it, are you going to abuse it? And it goes on in the spectrum of how bad we can be with this. That's not to say that we don't use it right sometimes and use it wrong other times. It's just dependent on our upbringings. The exposure from negative to positive and or learning, improving and being better as three pieces that heavily influence people and their upbringing. But we'll never know unless we find a system to be able to measure. And I know this system is hardwired or innate in every person because I've tested it for so long. It's amazing. You know, I walk down the street and I look at people and I look at them in the eyes and I smile at them. How many smile back? But if I don't, I know how many people just move on through life almost with a frown, almost with a sadness. You know, I don't know if we touched on it a little earlier, but I'd just like to touch on something. We talked about reflection over the last week. And what led me to ask this question, right, about this happiness or show this and show you. I find that the more and more I get out and watch people, whether that be walking down the street, whether that be in cafes that I visit or pubs or going to, you know, external locations, that sadness just seems to be everywhere. And that question popped in. I just wanted to know what AI thought. And then that would then tell me what psychology thinks. And then that would tell me, oh my goodness, Phil, keep doing what you're doing. It does not matter. Because I know that system will work if I give you the benchmark or I'm the benchmark because you'll copy it. And if I'm happy and if I am excited and I'm curious to know everything, you'll copy it. Why? Because my son at 3.5, when he's doing that, I'm copying it.
Yeah.
And I love it. And so unless we find a foundation for a baseline measurement, we're guessing. And if you look it up, you can see it's all guesses. But if you use this baseline as a determinant or as a purpose to go after, as a goal to go after, and you use this system, we'll really find out how much is baseline.
It makes me really happy talking about this because it just always brings to the forefront of my mind that every single person is hardwired to feel happiness. And I know there are so many people who don't know that they are, who don't even think about it.
No.
But it's really nice just knowing that everyone has got that natural disposition and is created for it. And if everyone had the right skills and tools, everyone would be able to achieve that happiness.
I agree 100%. I'd even say 100 million trillion %.
You sound like Sunny.
Because I've seen it in lots of people who have learned with us what happens to them and how when they see this system and they feel this system by seeing it in others like toddlers, and they know that it's in them because you can't get rid of it. It's basically your programming. They tap into it. And that gives them a lot of hope that they can feel a lot more happy. And then as they use the system, it almost becomes an expectation that I am going to be happy, so I'm going to be happy while I'm doing the search for happiness.
There is something that just popped in my mind, if I'm allowed to share, which also goes to the question, why do other people then just seem to be happier than others? And I think it also answers the question of, at least feel up and thinking about it now. And sometimes I do fulfill a weakness, but I still don't feel curious, excited, and happy. And what I would love to touch on is that if we look at a baby usually has one weakness that it senses at a time, right? Because there is not much that this baby is experiencing. There is no mental ability. So it doesn't have these 1,000 questions flying around in its mind that are unfulfilled. And it doesn't have a physical ache and the back is hurting and it's got a headache because it looked at the screen too long. So there are not many weaknesses. Really, the main weaknesses a baby is picking up, it needs safety, it wants warmth, or it is too warm, it's hungry, it's too bright, something like that.
Yep.
So usually when mum or dad fulfill that, it's very easy for that baby to get into that curiosity, excitement, and happiness. We also know that parents get it wrong. And it takes a long time sometimes to find out what is this weakness that this child is trying to communicate to me. Yep. But it is a lot easier to fulfill those weaknesses.
Yes.
Now within adults, we are exposed to so many things and we have got such great mental abilities that we've got thousands of questions running around in our minds. So our mind and our physical being is sensing so many weaknesses most of the time. And if we haven't focused on finding those weaknesses and fulfilling them and making that a priority, even if we fulfill one of those weaknesses, it's very likely that we're not going to be able to experience that curiosity, excitement, and happiness because I'm still alarming through that sadness, frustration, and crying because there are other weaknesses that haven't been fulfilled just yet. So I just want to point that out because if someone is reflecting on this and going, yeah, but even if I do all those things that you're saying, even if I fulfill it, I never get that feeling of happiness, well, then there might be other weaknesses that you're not aware of.
Absolutely. Isn't it amazing how because we don't understand this system, because 99.9% of us do not fulfill it to the highest standard from the entry level perspective of this system being enacted. So, for example, physical, then mental. Mm-hmm. We then try and search for happiness external of us. Mm-hmm. not from a need perspective, but a want and a wish perspective. We think, all right, I'll have a couple more kids because these kids in my relationship at the moment might not be the right thing, but I'll have a couple more kids. Right? I'll get a boat. I'll buy some beautiful shoes or buy a nice jacket that'll make me feel good. I'll take on more accountabilities in my life.
Not realizing that every accountability comes with more weaknesses.
And if you don't learn how to fulfill weaknesses from the physical perspective first, then the mental perspective, with everything you interact with in life, what we call the 10 most important areas of life, you are then going to throw more and more and more at yourself, creating more weaknesses that you don't fix or don't know how to fix or are fearful of. And that then creates unsettled or unfulfilled weaknesses.
Yeah.
Greater levels of sadness, frustration, and crying from a natural perspective.
Absolutely.
That stays unfulfilled from the fulfiller, that no one else can fulfill, and you don't know how to fulfill or don't fulfill. Thus, you're not going to realize that natural curiosity, that natural calm, that peace of mind. You're then going to go into worry, stress, anxiousness as a disposition.
Yeah.
Which is what science says, that if you don't have, more of the happiness genetics, you're going to have more of the worry and stress genetics. But this system shows you how that actually works. Why some of us feel more sadness, frustration and crying, anxiousness, worry, stress, and feel less fulfilled, calm, at peace, and less of curious excitement and happiness.
Yeah. So if I were to try and summarize that, there are a few reasons that we can tell why some people feel more happiness than others. We don't think it comes from a genetic disposition, to a high standard at least. In simple terms, we're all wired to feel quite a lot of happiness. But the reason some people feel more of it and some people feel less of it is based on how that system has been nurtured automatically by our parents. And again, you then got to go further, how our parents' system had been nurtured. So the thoughts that our parents have learned throughout life, and then the thoughts, actions, behaviors that our parents pass on to us, that we copy into our minds, that then shows how we manage ourselves in life. And how well we utilize the system now in our lives, meaning how many weaknesses we find, how well we fulfill those weaknesses to the standard that we fulfill those weaknesses to, which then allows us to get into the calm, fulfilled peace of mind, which then will automatically give us the ability to feel curiosity, excitement, and happiness. So really it is a beautiful mix of nature and nurture. Naturally, we are meant for it, but it depends on did we get the things nurtured into us to achieve those natural levels? Yes? Was that a simple summary? Would you change something, add on?
Look, I would just say that if you go back to a question you asked earlier about the set point.
What was the question exactly that I asked?
It was along the lines of, do I agree with the set point? What percentage of the set point? We will never know the percentage of the set point unless you understand exactly what you were explaining there as a summary. You have to use that summary. Test people using this system to then find out what that set point might have been. I like what you were saying though. The way that we're using it now, we're never going to feel the highest level of calm, peace of mind, fulfillment, or the highest level of curiosity, excitement, and happiness if we do not better manage our weaknesses and the alarm, sadness, frustration, and crying for those weaknesses for us as the fulfiller or somebody else to fulfill. It's not possible. Then you can just say, well, the baseline's 50% because we haven't used the system. If you then use this system, all right, you are going to create the opposite. No matter how much you already do that's good, it can be so much better by taking weaknesses as the most amazing and the greatest opportunity for all learning, improvement, and better. Taking sadness, frustration, and crying just as an alarm that there's a weakness to fulfill it for the greatest level of calm, peace, and curiosity, excitement, and happiness. So I put into AI this question of, is happiness a genetic or a non-genetic influenced outcome? And we got the results. Now, we know that AI is just a copy of what's inputted in it. Yeah. So what people have created and put into AI. And we know that AI is getting lots of things wrong. However, on checking the content that AI presented based on the set point of happiness being 50% is probably, or up to 50% is genetic, and having a look at that, I look at then from a psychological perspective, a self-help perspective. Is this what we're teaching people? And if AI is of influence of that, is this what we're teaching people? Because I go, oh my goodness, are people believing in this? Because there is a lot of people that believe and have believed in their searches on their phone, which has been using intelligence for a long time, that's been inputted from human beings. And are they using this as an excuse for them not feeling happy, for not being calm, for being more worried or content, and actually almost keeping people contained in that bubble? That's what they were born to be like. So I see it as something that is actually detrimental to people, more than the genetics that they say is set point or has a set point inside them. I find that message is giving people a less hope rather than more hope. I think that it is wrong to not have a measurement ability, except, I'm sorry, we've measured twins and people living in the same area. And that, how do you get that identical? Where every person that I've ever talked to over the last 10 years, based on a system similar to this as we evolved it, has said, oh my goodness, wow, I wasn't born bad. I wasn't born to be unhappy. So I kind of think that it makes me sad to think that people will believe that.
I mean, it kind of goes back to the nurturing question, right? I get what you're saying, that psychology and having that belief that your happiness depends on genetic lottery, that it puts the idea out there that if I can't fix it anyway, then why would I even try? So I'm going to be okay with not feeling happy all the time. So it kind of takes people's power away. But I also do see the other side. As someone who's struggled with a lot of sadness and being stuck in mental negative loops, that idea of it's a genetic disposition that I might not be happy as my neighbor kind of gave me a little bit of that calmness or that relief. And you're right, it did take power away from me. It did take the power away to say, I can change this and I'm going to do whatever I have to do. But I only have power if I have the skills and if I know how to reach that happiness level. Now, if researchers and psychology were to tell me, well, it's your fault that you're not really happy because you're not managing yourself, right? But they're not giving me what I actually have to change to reach that happiness level. Now you've actually made me feel more sad. Now you've made me feel shameful that I'm not able to reach that happiness. So I can see both sides, but for me there is the third side. The side of you do have the power to change it here are the skills that you need. Here is what you need to understand, like understanding the system to actually reach happiness. I don't know, but I think I'm kind of glad that no one put it on me when I was maybe 15, 16 without giving me the skills to change it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they couldn't
And I know
have.
it sounds incredibly oblivious.
No, but they couldn't have.
They couldn't have, because if you don't have the system, how are you going to teach me to get there? So it is a nice little, I don't know, a blanket that keeps me in my own little delusional world.
And thank goodness we had it.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it's there. And I'm not picking on it and saying that what is there is wrong.
Oh, I get it. And I agree with you.
What I'm saying is it makes me sad, us knowing this.
Yeah.
And that there is better, and it's going to take us a long time to get this out.
Yeah.
For psychology and for the self-help industry or self-development industry to actually change their ways, to show them that there's better from a natural, and let's call it genetic perspective. Because I'm sorry, this system is hardwired. This system is in your DNA. This system is the foundation, ready, of everything that you learned to fulfill. It is the foundation of all communication, even setting the blueprint for how to communicate to ourselves and others. You know, rather than sadness, frustration and crime because of a weakness, how about we add curiosity, excitement and happiness towards a weakness? It sets the foundation for it. So the world not understanding this amazing fulfillment, communication, and then it taught us so much of what we know from the baseline of knowing nothing from basically birth, to where then we started to intentionally be able to look ourselves and intentionally take over that learning, working in line with that system without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Like, this system is just so amazing. So it's now our job to get what we understand about this system, plus the more and more that it created or gives us opportunities to learn, improve and be better with. That just drives me to want to do this more so that I can help to prevent where people cannot find better happiness in life because they don't understand, but we'll just have to be content with what we have. So I get it, and I'm glad for all the things that helped you to get where you were before you met me. Because, you know, you talked about suicide in the past, and I speak to many people who do. And thank goodness we have that system set up. God forbid that it ever gets taken away. Now there's better. Now there's a greater understanding. And now more people can feel a higher sense of calm, peace, fulfillment, rather than, all right, I'm content with a little bit of worry and a lack of curiousness, excitement and happiness to go out and explore more. So now it's time, as you said, to do that better.
I was just thinking of all the little Lisas out there. All the and of course, like, again, I've talked about it in the past, you really relate to the people who are similar to you, right? Because you've lived your own life, so you've experienced that. You can put yourself in those people's shoes. I'm thinking about all the little Lisas who are out there right now feeling that sadness, that depression, that thinking that they'll never get through those emotions and that feelings, and that the feelings are pulling them apart, and that they feel numb whilst they feel like they're exploding, and they're thinking that it's not something that they can learn to better manage, and that that's just something that they will be like for the rest of their lives. And it makes me very excited. My natural communication system is tapping into that excitement, because I really do hope that we can give people the knowledge on how to manage it and show them that they are in power, and I like that word, the power over themselves, that they can manage any negative emotion to a better emotion if they know how.
Yeah. if they know that it's hardwired
Yeah.
for better,
Yeah.
that they're genetically and from a DNA perspective able to be much better with, if you have a look at what does everyone want? They want more happiness. They want more curiosity, excitement. That old lady on the tram when I was in Melbourne who looked at Sunny, then looked at us as parents, and then looked at Sunny, and everyone is crowding around Sunny, and the lady says, please, please, make sure he never loses that curiosity. Please. As though she had lost it, as though she sees everyone else has lost it. And it's not as though it is lost. It's still in there. It's just not being tapped into for the greatest level of happiness that we could have.
Agree.
So, on that, I just wanted to raise one thing. And this is where, if you are finding that you're struggling with emotions, with your actions, what you say and do, and your behaviour, and that's affecting your relationships, and then you're going on to AI or onto Google, on your phone and Safari, and you're looking up what's my problem, right? And it's telling you that, well, you've got ADD or ADHD, or you've got autism, or you've got all this, or you're on the spectrum, or please do me a favour. It's a measurement based on a past history of how we have diagnosed what we are feeling and thinking and how we're behaving. But now what I want you to do, if you're watching this, if you're seeing this, it's so much better. And take that classification, but don't get drowned in it. Don't allow it to put a dome over you not to experience more or go after more. What I want you to do is come and learn this system. Because if you understand this system, you're going to be able to use that diagnosis as a foundation for what you can be better with to get out of. For example, Lisa, when you were in the clinic for multiple weeks, they said what you had could never be.
That's so funny. I was just about to touch on that. Yes, they told me that what I had, which was a borderline depression, anyone can look that up, is something that I'm just going to have to live with. There is no cure. There is no fix for that. It just means that I feel emotions very differently than other people, that I feel emotions a lot stronger than other people, that I'm a lot more impulsive than other people, and that is just something my brain is just wired for that. And it'd be something that I have to live with. And there is no fix. But they did say, look, you're not as bad as other people who've seen way worse. So you're okay. But yeah, there was no fix, no cure, which is really important to me to touch on, because this means that no matter the diagnosis that you have, and we're not just talking about AI self-diagnosing, we're talking about even if psychologists have diagnosed you with something, that doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot get rid of it. And I'm not saying the psychologists or therapists haven't diagnosed people correctly. I'm saying that the diagnosis of you cannot get rid of it, I call BS on that, in the kindest words possible.
So do you have borderline depression now?
No.
Yep.
No, absolutely not.
Good. And so if you suffer from that, or fibromyalgia, or any diagnosis, and you really, really want to be better with that diagnosis, then understanding what we're presenting is of the utmost importance. Because if you understand this system and use this system the way that it's meant to be, and you still have that classification or feel those symptoms that the classification is for, I would love to know, because I would be very surprised, because I haven't noticed anybody who understands this system still suffer from their diagnosis and or the symptoms of that diagnosis.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
100%. I would love to roll into the next little part, which I think works quite nicely. We've just talked about that no matter the diagnosis that you have, you can fix it by understanding the system. and learning how to better manage it. And I mean, that is the deep help, right? There are some people who just want to know, hey guys, this episode was like, can I achieve happiness? I don't have a mental health issue. I just want to be a little bit more happy. Should we give some advice to those people, to level 1, let's say, and then after that we can give a little bit of a link for level 10 people who might say, hey, I want deep help, I want more.
Sure.
Have you brought advice for us today? What is some advice that you might actually use for people who would like to know how to be more happy?
This is advice that you might actually use.
When I started researching, and I was helping people with businesses and their profit and loss and how they run the company and what they could do better and what they're missing. After a period of time, it more or less became about how can I help people with their relationships. It was the number one thing. And the underlying subject under relationships was communication. How come our communication breaks down with my partner, my family, my kids, my extended family, my friends? What do I think of what my friends think? It was always about relationships and then the communication, whether that be said or thought. Whether I'm communicating with myself and trying to work out where did I go wrong or where could I be better, or doing that with others. That was the dominant area or subject people really wanted to understand to be better with. As I said, the 2 biggest problems, money and 2 relationships. And so with the little bit of understanding that you've gathered today in regards to that you are basically hardwired for happiness, the next time you have a tiff or an argument or something goes wrong within a relationship, what I want you to do is, when you've got time and you've come out, because when you have a little fight or an argument, there's a bit of frustration and maybe a bit of anger. You know, your hormones are running wild. You red face, you feel the hair on your back coming up. You're basically in what people may call fight or flight. You want to run away or you really want to punch them out. And you take a step back and you give yourself time. What I want you to do is I want you to use this system. And how I want you to use it, I want you to sit back. And I know that people already do this. It's just how long does it take them to do it? So as soon as you find that spot, rather than make it about the other person, I want you to make it about you. And I don't want you to make it about you from oh my goodness, why did I do that? Oh, because we all feel that. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Oh, geez, that's horrible. I want you to look at it from a curious and excited and happy perspective. How do you do that, Phil? Like, that's just crazy. We'll just start with curiosity first. I want you to look at what you could have done wrong, what you did do wrong. I want you to find where you could have done something better. And I want you to be excited and happy that you are doing that you're tapping into that curiosity, that you're learning from where your weaknesses could be. Now, don't worry about the others. Don't worry about it, because as soon as you do that, it takes it away from that excitement and happiness that you can feel by doing what you were born to do. Find weaknesses, use frustration to see what you could learn, improve, and be better with those weaknesses, to fulfill them and become peaceful and feel calm and peaceful. Sorry, thank you. So that's what I want you to do. Now, what will happen is I want you to know that in most cases, when something is fulfilled, you tap into that curious excitement and happiness. So be curious, excited, and happy to tap into that curious excitement and happiness for when something is fulfilled. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like Lisa, when she does physical activity, she does it, and then after it feels curious, excited, and happy to do more. Curious, excited, and happy about what she's done, where she's gone to. It's basically going, well, next time I go and work out, I'm going to be curious, excited, and happy about how much curious, excited, and happy I can be. Thus being the approach. So if you can take that towards when something goes wrong, you will get through that a lot faster. And then when you then go and say, I'm sorry, family member, friend, etc., this is what I've done wrong. This is what I'm going to learn to do, improve and be better. I am sorry, and you're grateful. Then it just gives this beautiful energy, and you're tapping into the greatest part of genetics.
Well, you forced your mind to learn something, basically. You've used that system and learned something intentionally, which we know will lead to that calmness and then curiosity, excitement, happiness automatically. Yeah, 100%. I like it. Here's the piece that I brought today. For me, it is a gratitude journal. So here is what I'm going to base it on. Happiness is a skill. It is not a lottery ticket. So we are all made to feel happiness. So if you want to feel more happiness, here is what I suggest. Start a gratitude journal, but not any gratitude journal. This gratitude journal is going to focus on something very specific: weaknesses. The part that we know our physical being's natural communication system automatically senses and that we are meant to fulfill. So here is how I would do it. For example, I lost my driver's license last week, and that one was from Germany, and currently I'm in Australia, so that could have been a real struggle for me. So if I have my gratitude journal, I might write down, okay, the weakness that I experienced today was losing my driver's license, and I actually thought it was gone completely, and I had to look for, how can I fix it? Eventually I found it. But I might write down, I'm so grateful that I lost the driver's license. Not that I found it. I'm grateful that I lost it, because what it taught me is that I have to really go and make sure now that I get an Australian driver's license, so that in case I do ever lose it completely, I have a backup. So I experience gratitude for the weakness. I write that down, and then I write down what I've learned from it and how grateful I am for the learning from that. I think that will slowly shift the idea that we have of weaknesses and will almost be that little part of your day that you look forward to. And I promise you, if you do that, you will automatically tap into that natural hardwired happiness that you have inside of you.
I'll tap into your gratitude journal, because and I didn't know you were bringing this to the table today. I have a weakness. I've lost my sunglasses. Weakness, my gratitude journal. Weakness, lost my sunglasses again. But this time I think I've lost it for good. So what am I going to be grateful for? Right? How do I turn this from frustration, sadness? I put in here, I'm grateful that I found these in the first place. Second, I'm grateful that I did not lose them the other 50 times that I could have lost them when I left them on top of the car roof.
Very good.
And I'm grateful that they will find a new home.
Beautiful.
I'm grateful that I had them for as long as I did. Thank you. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm grateful to have experienced this, so hopefully I can learn to look after them better.
Oh, yes, I'll write that in now. Thank you.
Good job.
Awesome.
Stamp of approval.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, no, very good add-on, absolutely.
All right.
I love
Thank you.
So that's our little advice people might actually use from this episode on how to gain more happiness.
Yeah.
Now, that was the little advice, being like, oh, not really too interested in going deeper with this. Guys, give me something little that I can practice today.
Oh.
But now we've also talked about there might be people who are really interested in actually gaining more understanding about the system that we're talking about. And I don't know about you, but if I were to listen to this podcast, I would say, give me everything that I need to know about the system. So may I link it to, if people would like to learn a little bit more about this system, we do have a wonderful, not podcast, we have a wonderful course. We're sponsoring ourselves here in this point. It is called the Born to Be Better course, and you can find it on all of our socials. You can find it on our website, and that actually teaches in depth.
All about this system.
All about this hardwired system inside you, what it created, what your life is made up of, where it went wrong, and how we all manage this system. And it gives you specific skills on how to manage this system for the better and take that into your life, so that in the long run you can feel more curiosity, excitement and happiness that really is the goal of that whole course. So I just wanted to link that here for people if they want to know a little bit more.
Yep. Lise, why do we always add curious, excitement and happiness as three, as like a group?
Well, I think that they are like all holding hands, but they're different stages. So curiosity, sometimes I feel curiosity, but I don't feel that, punch of excitement.
Yeah.
So curiosity to me means asking questions, wanting to know how something works.
Yeah. It's the starting point of experiencing more.
It's the starting point, correct. Like, I want to know what it feels like riding a bike. I'm not really happy about it yet because I haven't experienced it. I'm not excited yet.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I want to know how that works.
And from my side, I tap into that curious when somebody says, how does that work? So even from a teacher's perspective, so I'm feeling you. So keep going, please.
I like that. So then the second level for me is, so now I've been curious, right? Let's stick with the example simple of I want to know what it's like to ride a bike. And then when I get to realize, I ask mum and dad and I go, can I go try and ride a bike? Yeah, you can. Oh, really? Can I go and ride a bike? That is so cool. Thank you. So now I've tapped into that excitement. But to be honest, I don't think I'm happy yet. For me, that happiness comes from what I have experienced or what I'm currently experiencing.
Yeah.
So now you give me the bike and you sit me on it. And that is for me where that happiness really takes a hold of me. That's at least how I've got it in my mind. The curiosity is before the fact.
Yep.
The excitement is before and during. And the happiness is a during and after the fact.
From my perspective, looking at it from a different angle, based on, I love what you presented.
Yeah.
How do you ever maintain happiness if you don't have curious and excitement?
Yeah.
If you don't have that curiosity and excitement?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Oh, great. Yeah, I love that.
You can't. So here's this system that's hardwired pushing you for more, to learn more, because that's what it's about. Remember, communication, fulfillment, and learning system. For you to take over its system and do it intentionally.
You know what? I like how our explanations work together actually, because for me it also shows that happiness is not something that you can ever maintain, if that makes sense. You can't tap into it once and then it's just there. You always have to experience more things, step out of your comfort zone. You have to get curious about something new or something else, excited about something to be able to feel that happiness. It's not something that you once get and there you go, you can just hold it and you keep it forever.
Yeah, it's not fixed.
Yeah.
It is maintainable.
You're right.
Based on tapping into the system.
You are 100% right.
I knew what you meant by the word, so I'm not playing on words. I knew what you meant by it. But it is most definitely something that you have to consistently and intentionally go after to experience new things. Otherwise, what's the point of the system?
Yeah. Let's wrap this up, hey?
When you say wrap it up, what do you mean? Like close it off?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Can I just say something?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thank you.
You can say anything. It's your podcast too.
Based on the research we've done into this subject, there is so much better happiness once you understand this system. So much people have no idea of and don't believe in. And for example, you look at the richest people in the world and you go and study them, analyze them, and you find out how many are truly happy, no matter the wealth and all of the things that they have, their wants and wishes fulfilled. You'll find that the majority of them are nowhere near the happiness that could be felt without being rich. And the reason being is that they haven't tapped into this system. As we've discussed, those people who are very rich and wealthy have tapped into weaknesses and within almost one area of life or two areas of life, but not across the whole of life. and thus they're never going to find the greatest happiness, because the greatest happiness comes from not wealth. It comes from self, and it comes from your relationships, and it comes from self and relationships in your home and your work. And most of the rich people never get that right, except in their work that made them rich and powerful. But they haven't got it right with themselves, and they haven't got it right within their homes and with their extended families and relationships. But guess what? You, before them, because they're not interested in what we have to say, certainly the majority of them, because they already think they know, because they've already got everything that every human particularly wants, because they don't have this system and understand that they can have a greater level of happiness. And I'm not picking on them, because guess what I know they want? They want what you have the opportunity of having by understanding this system. And you have the opportunity of getting it before them. And then you tap into this system with yourself. You tap into this system with your relationships. You tap into this system in your home. I promise you, you can not only tap into the system to make a lot of money, you can be happy doing so as the foundation for that, not as almost in despite of it. So, if you want better happiness, the highest standard and level of happiness that you can have in your life, it is now possible. Understand this system, and then it becomes highly probable. Do that, and then that rub off with all of those people you want better with. Starting with yourself is so easy to find, where everybody collectively is happy within your family unit or friendship unit. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Just wanted to say that.
All right, so we discussed, just to do a quick summary or recap, we discussed a myth today. The myth for us is the set point theory, or the idea that your genetic lottery decided how happy you can become in life, and that it's really just luck whether you got the right genetics or not. The truth that we've shared today, based on everything that we understand, is that we all share the same genetics. There might be the tiniest little bit of difference,
10%,
maybe, in how we feel happiness, the hormones that are being sent out into our body. So there might be a difference, but the truth is we all have the same system hardwired inside of us that give us the same ability to tap into that beautiful, natural happiness. And the reason why we're all feeling different levels of happiness is because of the way we've been nurtured, and I don't just mean as babies, but over the whole of our lives, the way we've nurtured ourselves and the thoughts that we've got stored in our minds on, number one, how to manage the system without us even knowing that it's there, and the thoughts that we've copied from other people in this world. And we believe that everyone can learn the right skills and can gain the understanding to understand the system so that they can tap into the highest levels of happiness.
We do.
And
well, 95% of you.
95. Who are the other 5?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But come and test it.
So with that, I would like to close this out by saying that, or asking the question again that we asked in the beginning, is happiness achievable for anyone? And yes, it 100% is, as long as you know how to achieve that happiness.
Certainly understanding the foundation of it.
Yeah.
Your natural communication, fulfillment and learning system.
Absolutely. So with that, friends, thank you so much for being here today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching wherever you saw, heard, or whatever did with us. Thanks for spending the time, I guess. If you have any questions, if you want to send in questions for Ask Us Anything, if you have questions about what we discussed today, please do feel free to do so. Do that in the comments, or reach out to us through our email address or our Instagram profiles. Everything is linked in the show notes or in the description. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Lise. Thank you, everyone.